Mineli.
Okay.
Shamindri, you can start, please.
Sorry, before that, can somebody give me access to share my screen?
Yes.
Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. We see many of you are still logging in right now. We want to ensure everyone gets to hear the full presentation. So we will start in about 5 minutes, give everyone to join in. And please make yourself comfortable. I know some of you have already been here for a while. Apologies for that, but I'm sure all of you are comfortable by now. So let's start in about 5 minutes. That's exactly 6:55. Good evening once again, and a warm welcome to all the students and parents who are joining us tonight. Lyceum Placements, the study abroad arm of the Lyceum Education Group, is proud to host this exclusive session tonight. If you're looking for a world-class education, this is the perfect place to start. Tonight, we are honored to introduce our guest speaker, Mineli Perera. Mineli is the country manager, Sri Lanka, for student recruitment and admissions from the International Marketing and Recruitment, or IMAR division at Monash University Australia. She is here to talk about the incredible study opportunities, world-ranked programs, and student life offered by Monash University. Before we begin, a quick housekeeping note. Please feel free to type your questions in the chat box at any time during the presentation. We will address them during the Q&A session at the end. Without further ado, over to you, Mineli.
Thank you. I hope my screen is clear. Yeah. And I'm guessing you can hear me as well. Is my connection clear or is it laggy?
It's clear, crystal
We
clear,
can
and the
hear you.
screen is clear as well.
Okay, super. Thank you. Okay, so hi everyone, good evening. I'm sorry for the delay. I heard that some of you joined early, but I felt it was not right to start earlier than planned because we had put 7 o'clock on the agenda. So to be fair to everyone else, I thought it best that we start at the time that we said we were going to start, but I'm really sorry if you've been waiting for a long time. I guess we have, how many people do we have here today? I haven't used Teams in a long time. Oh, okay, 17. Okay, nice. Good crowd. So I'm going to run through a little bit about the university. And actually today, I thought we will focus specifically on each faculty. So if you haven't heard of what a faculty is, it's one of the areas. It's an area of study. So Monash branches into 10 main areas of study. So I'm going to dive deep into each of those 10. Okay. So you can feel free to stop me at any point you want to ask any questions about that particular faculty, you can, or we can have a Q&A session at the end as well. So let's move on. Firstly, I'm sure you're here because you know that Monash is in itself a brand and it's got a name for itself in a very short span of time. So I always say, you know, when you look at universities like Harvard or Yale or Oxford or Cambridge, the best of the best, you know, MIT, all of these universities, they were started a very, very long time ago. Some of them centuries ago. Alternatively, Monash has only been in existence for a little over 60 years now. So we're coming up actually at the end of the 60th. We're moving into now 70 years in about a year or two. But it's a very, very young university. And it started with just 350 odd students. Now it has moved to almost 100,000 students on campus at any given point. So I think that is an exceptional feat, and that in itself is a marker of how amazing this university really is. Okay, so Monash has been able to build a reputation for excellence in terms of research, education, global reach, and their inclusivity as well. Okay, so coming to a university like Monash is basically giving you a ticket to the next step in your life, which would be your career or your further career if you're at a postgraduate level. So it would definitely be something that would support you in your next stage, right? So obviously, we have come this far because of our rankings. So Monash is currently the highest ranked it has ever been, 31st in the world. And out of 2,000 plus universities, I would say being 31st in the world is pretty good, you know, to be in that cream of the crop and to be considered such a high ranked university really gives it that that level of experience and expertise, which is what makes Monash what it is, the rankings and these numerics, right? But I always like to look beyond rankings and beyond numbers because I think that sometimes these ranking systems, they're a little on the surface because they are ranked based off of certain things, and that's why certain universities are ranked better than others. But I would leave it to you as students, future students, to do your research and really come up with why Monash is ranked 31st in the world. What is it that actually sets this university apart? Because I can tell you a whole bunch of things about why Monash is great, but it's important that you yourself know the reasoning. Yes, we've got exceptional academics, we've got extracurriculars, we've got a fantastic teaching team, very, very experienced lecturers, research opportunities that are unparalleled. But if you go and you start comparing this with other universities, you will start to see why Monash is set apart and why they are actually this highly ranked. Okay, so I'm just going to make it clear so that I won't be wasting your time. If you are a student who's looking at dentistry or veterinary science, or maybe something to do with like ophthalmology or those kind of specific medical areas at postgraduate level, we don't do dentistry, we don't do veterinary science. But everything else, pretty much we do have. And we don't have fashion designing as well, because that's ironically going a little out of style. So fashion designing is not a course that a lot of people are choosing anymore. And Monash always likes to stay ahead of the game. So because of that, we don't offer such programs. So if you are a student who's interested in dentistry, veterinary science, or fashion designing, unfortunately, we don't have it, but I may be able to convince you to study something else by the end of this webinar. So feel free to chat with me about career opportunities afterwards. I'll be happy to help you. Okay, so let's start off with the Faculty of Art, Design, and Architecture. So we have broken this up into a couple of courses. So you've got something called the Bachelor of Fine Art. And to be honest, not a lot of Sri Lankan students choose this program because you don't find a lot of students being very comfortable choosing careers in art history or in art curation. And what that means is things like pottery or painting or, that kind of artsy background. You don't find a lot of students going into that area. But it is a very, very lucrative area that you can get into if you're looking at a foreign job, because you can end up being a museum curator or an art specialist where you can have your own studio, you can do workshops, things like that. So it's for more, I would define it as someone who's more free-spirited and who doesn't want to be defined by, their own, by a 9 to 5 or something like that. So if you want like a freer job scope, this would be something that you can look at. Then you've got things like design. So here is where a lot of students come and ask us for fashion design, but like I said, we don't have it. But what we do have are specializations of design under the Bachelor of Design, where you can do things like communication design, which looks into multimedia communication, so graphics, all of that. Industrial design is more to do with industrial and spatial, both are to do with externals, so housing, even interior design can be found under this. And collaborative design is a mix of all of it. And then, of course, you've got architecture, and at master's level, you've got similar design fields as well. So the Faculty of ADA is how it's known, Art, Design, Architecture. So ADA looks at more creative things, right? So it'll be more on the creative side of things and not very theoretical based. So if you are a learner who likes that kind of freedom, this is something that you can consider. You don't need any specific entry requirements or prerequisites. So even if you want to go into design or architecture, you don't need mathematics or anything like that. Only thing is, for the fine art program, you do need to give a portfolio. Okay, so just be mindful of that. All right, moving on. So the Faculty of Arts varies completely from the Faculty of ADA. So arts focuses on things that you may have studied in school at, grade 8, things like that, like history or geography, things like that, where you kind of learn the basics all over again. Okay, so it has to do with more liberal thinking. So, for example, you have things like journalism and music and politics. And it has a lot of double degree opportunities. And to give you a definition of what a double degree is, it's where you combine two areas of study. So you could, for example, do a Bachelor of Arts and a Bachelor of Science, focusing on two completely different areas. You can do a Bachelor of Arts and a Bachelor of IT, for example, where you mix those two things together. And you have to think about, when you're doing a double degree, why you would want to do something like that. For example, if you want to do a Bachelor of Arts in International Relations, and you also want to couple that with a Bachelor of IT focusing on cybersecurity, that will give you a mix of two areas, right? So you can use your knowledge of cybersecurity to improve your job within the international relations sphere. The same can be said of criminology. Criminology and cybersecurity would be a really good combo that you can raise. Is it possible to combine international relations with? Sorry, I lost your question. International relations with politics. Yes. So how you would do that is, so you can see on the left here, it says over 30 areas of study, and it has all of this. So those are all known as majors. So under the Bachelor of Arts, you can have two majors, up to two majors. So at that point, you can do one major in international relations and one major in politics, and it won't change your cost nor the duration of your degree. The only time it will change is if you want to do a double degree, so two specific different areas. So we do have a Bachelor of Politics, Philosophy and Economics and a Bachelor of International Relations. If you want to do both of those together as a double degree, then that would be a lot more focused and a lot more in-depth, but it'll increase your duration by a year. So my recommendation is, if you want to mix IR and politics, you just do it as a double major instead of a double degree. Okay. So bachelor's, master's, you have plenty of opportunities available here. So you got applied linguistics, things like international development practice, which is very important for people that work in NGOs. You've got sustainable tourism, public policy, strategic communications. So these are kind of very focused masters that we offer under the Faculty of Arts. Okay, moving on to the Monash Business School. So unsurprisingly, business is our biggest faculty out of the 10 for Sri Lankan students, because our Sri Lankan kids just love business degrees for some reason. So we have a lot of students who come in for these programs. We've got 10 single degrees, meaning things like accounting, business administration, commerce, economics, finance, marketing, etc., and also double degree opportunities. So we're currently ranked between number 1 and 4 at different ranking levels. We also have a new ranking of number 1 for business administration. So that's a new rank that has come up. There is a catch when it comes to our business faculty. Because Monash is so high ranked, and because we get so many students globally for the business program, we do have a prerequisite of A-level mathematics if you're coming in for undergraduate students. So postgrad, we're not so fast. You can come in with actually most of the degrees with any background. You can join regardless of what you've done in the past in your degree. The main thing we look at is your GPA. You need to have a 3.1 or more equivalent GPA, or that's basically a second upper. But for undergraduate students, you do need A-level mathematics. We only have one program that accepts you without maths, and that is the Bachelor of Business Administration. Under the Bachelor of Business Administration, you can look at things like accounting, finance, economics, marketing, management. You have opportunities to study those stock standard subjects under the BBA. If you have AS level English, you can go into business, and business would look into things like entrepreneurship or sustainable management, things like that. So depending on what your A-level subjects are, you can take a call. There are loopholes for this. So if you don't have mathematics, we do have courses that you can take. So don't worry if you are thinking that, you won't be able to join the program because you don't have maths. We can sort something out for you once you submit your application. I can have a look and then speak to faculty and come up with a solution for you. So I'm going to pause now because there's a couple of questions. So tell us about the merit scholarships, 50% or higher. Okay, so I'll take your first part of the question initially. So we don't go on a percentage scheme at Monash, we go on a value system. So we have $15,000 off per year for high achieving A-level students. And we also have a fully funded scholarship, which is the equivalent of 100% scholarship. That's the Monash Leadership Scholarship. So that is not merit-based alone. You start off by, of course, having very high academic grades only at undergraduate level. This is not for postgrad students. In addition to that, you also need to have leadership capacities, for example, head prefectship or sports captaincies. And you need to also showcase other leadership opportunities, like if you've done tuition for underprivileged students, or you led clubs and societies at a very senior level, something like that, that would really set you apart because there are only 4 given globally. So because it's such a prestigious scholarship, it's not easy to get. So there's a lot of shortlisting that's done. The good news is in the past 2 years, we've had 2 Sri Lankan students getting this leadership scholarship, which I think is an exceptional achievement. Because I know our kids can really, ace this kind of thing, because we do have that leadership capacity within us as a nation. So I'm sure that you can do it. You just need to have these all these boxes ticked before you submit your application.
Can
When
I
it comes,
pause you a bit?
yeah,
Can I pause you a bit, or I'll ask the questions later, or is that all right?
is it regarding scholarships?
Yeah, just a small thing. Does it apply to medicine students also?
No, sorry. So no scholarships to
okay.
medicine.
Right.
When I get to the medical page, you might understand why, but unfortunately, we don't have medicine scholarships. But I will touch on
Right,
that
fine.
once I get to that point.
Okay, thank you.
Internships as part of the program for engineering and computer science. So I'll do that when I get to that page. Is it okay to have teaching experience at a primary school? I'm assuming this is for a bachelor or a master of teaching. If you could clarify further in the chat, Rimshad, I will get back to your question once I get to the education page.
Sorry, I'll just answer. Can
Yeah.
I answer right now? Okay, so I'm interested in international relations. And
Yeah.
I was asking, you said leadership qualities. So I have work experience at a primary school. Would that increase my chances?
It would, but you also need to couple it with other things as well. So if you have like a head prefectship or some kind of captaincy,
I was a prefect.
You were a prefect. Okay, so I would need to have a look at your case because it's a bit of a niche area. So maybe once you're done, you can just send your CV to Lyceum, tell them to forward it to me, and I'll have a look at it and see if we can do something for you. Yeah.
But the scholarship is available for international relations students?
Yeah. Everything other than medicine, and there's a few programs like pharmaceutical science, etc. Nursing, those ones they don't give it, but the other ones, yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. All right.
Excuse me. What about the mechanical side, the automobile field, the
Sorry.
mechanical engineering side,
Yeah,
like
I'm getting to that.
automobile?
So that's the next slide. So I'll be touching on engineering after this. Okay. So Faculty of Education. So again, teaching is a very popular course overseas, and it's a very popular career. Unfortunately, here in Sri Lanka, teachers are not paid half as much as they should be, but overseas, the pay is excellent to become a teacher, and you need to be properly qualified. You have to have a degree. It is mandatory to have a degree. So we have the Faculty of Education, where you can specialize in early childhood, primary, or secondary specializations. So primary, early childhood is basically um, 0 upwards, so nursery upwards, and we couple early childhood and primary together, so 0 to 12. Primary on its own is 5. Secondary would be 12 to 18 years. So depending on what you're comfortable with, you can focus your area. So primary education, usually you have to specialize in things like maths, English, science, because it's a generic area. Whereas secondary, you can specialize in things like English literature, languages, science, mathematics at senior level, so that you are then fit to teach afterwards. Okay, so you get almost 3 months of placement within a school, monitored placement where you will be assessed. So that really helps you to kind of get your practical training going. Okay. Engineering. So someone had a question about engineering. So mechanical engineering is one of our 10 specializations. We offer all of these 10. This has actually increased. So unfortunately, I'm not able to edit this presentation, so I have to verbally tell you the new stats. So 94% of graduates as of 2025, the last graduating batch that we had, 94% of graduates found work within 6 months of completion. So engineering at undergraduate level, again, is a very, very popular program. You do need maths, physics, or maths and physics or chemistry. Then we also do have masters of engineering as well, where you can look into things like advanced engineering or professional engineering, where you get 1 whole year of work. And you can also merge your bachelor and your master's of a B.Eng and M.Eng within 4.5 years and graduate with 2 qualifications at the same time. Okay. So mechanical engineering, I hope I answered your question. We do have it. If you have a specific question about mechanical engineering, you can ask me. If not, I'm going.
What about we had done advanced level in technology stream, and we have
Sorry,
NET for certificate also.
sorry, what
Automobile
I
field. Advanced level done in technology stream,
so
and
without mathematics.
uh, science for technology, engineering technology, and IT.
Yeah, no. So we don't accept from the tech field, but I can see Savin, you've also asked this question. So if you don't have maths and you want to get into engineering, there's 2 ways that you can do this. One, you can do a foundation. 2, you can do what is called MAP. So MAPP, it's like a bridging course. It's 4 months. I don't recommend doing MAP because for engineering students, because it's only 4 months and you have to cram maths, physics, chemistry into that 4 months. And I don't think it's a good idea because our engineering degrees are very tech and math heavy. So because of that, coming from that background, while it is possible, whether it's a smart move is a question, because you can always at Monash, you can come in to a master's without engineering expertise as long as you have some kind of background. So depending on what kind of degree you do, like for example, you go into IT or something, we can consider you into a master of engineering, depending on what specialization you want to go into. Direct entry foundation is possible through biochemistry, physics. Yes. Okay, so I would say the best way is to do foundation, and then there's this thing called diploma part 2 of engineering. So what that means is, if diploma part 2 is equivalent to the first year of the Monash University degree. It's the Monash diploma. But because it's a diploma, you're learning at a slower pace and you're learning at a more base level. So once you finish diploma part 2, you go into the second year of your degree. So you're not redoing your A levels or anything like that, but you just need to do either MAP or foundation to get into that next level. Okay, so I hope that's clear. Employment rate is, like I said, 94%. So that's very, very, very high. Electrical power engineering, sorry, we don't have that at undergraduate level. I would have to check if we have it at master's. Okay, so this is your industry engagement. So somebody had a question about internship opportunities. So here you go. These are some of the co-op industry partners that we work with in Australia. And you've got things like work integrated learning, and your flagship co-op program is between 3 to 12 months paid internship, and you work on actual projects with Australian and multinational companies. Okay, so you're getting definitely getting the best option once you come into Monash for engineering, because we have consistently been ranked very, very highly for engineering as a faculty. So guidance on the application process, Rimsha, can be done by the team at Lyceum. They'll be able to do all of that for you. Monash does not have a maximum age per se, but there are visa concerns, especially for undergraduate. So you'd have to consider that as well. Again, Lyceum will be able to help you about that. We do have actuarial studies. It falls under the business faculty. Maths is a mandatory requirement. If you have A-level mathematics, you can join the Bachelor of Actuarial Science. And we have an integrated master's program as well, where you can do bachelor's and master's of actuarial and graduate with a double qualification. Okay, moving on to the Faculty of IT. The group of 8 is part of the best, is basically the best 8 research intensive universities in Australia. Monash is part of this group of 8, along with other universities like University of Melbourne, Sydney, Adelaide University, blah, blah, blah. So we are the only university in the group of 8 that has a dedicated faculty for IT. So remember, I said faculty is an area of expertise. Every other university has IT under the engineering faculty, whereas we have a separate faculty for it. Okay, so this IT graduate rate has also increased to 92% within 4 months of completion. Okay, employment rate for business administration and all business programs is 89%. Okay, that is also because business is a very, very saturated area. So you'll find that the employment rates are slightly lower than what we have for engineering and IT, but 89% is still very good odds when you're looking at succeeding in getting a job. And at the end of the day, if you are an employer and you're looking at a CV, if you see Monash on the qualification and you see the person has graduated with a Monash degree, you will shortlist that person 9 times out of 10 because of the quality that Monash graduates bring to companies. So because of that, you can rest easy knowing that the qualification that you're getting is bound to get you a job either overseas or in your home country. Okay, so IT, how it works is we've got the Bachelor of IT, we've got a Bachelor of Computer Science, we've got a Bachelor of Advanced Computer Science, and we just started a Bachelor of AI specifically. Okay, so under IT, you can look at things like game development, software development, networking, business information systems, whereas under computer science, you can only look at things like data science or advanced computer science. And then, of course, the Bachelor of IT also has things like cybersecurity and applied cybersecurity as well. Okay, so AI is the newest program that we have just launched, and we are already getting tons of applications for it. Okay. So when you're looking at, okay, so postgrad, you've got focus on AI, business information, cybersecurity, data science, IT, which is generic, and health data analytics. We have now actually moved to the medicine faculty. So that's this one. So nursing, public health, medicine, anatomy, these are some of the areas that we focus on. Monash is the only university to have its own heart hospital within their campus in Victoria. Okay, so that alone, I think, speaks to the sheer size of the university. The fact that you can have an actual hospital in there means it's a pretty big uni. Game development is under the Bachelor of IT. Okay, and you for the Bachelor of IT, you don't need mathematics, remember. So you can come into the IT sector through the Bachelor of IT without any prior mathematical knowledge or even IT knowledge. You don't need computer science or any tech subjects for game development, right? So some programs under the Bachelor, under the Faculty of Medicine, biomedical science, medicine, midwifery, nursing, occupational therapy, physiotherapy, things like that, right? So I'm going to touch on medicine a little bit because I think there may be a few of you who may be interested in that. So we are one of two universities that offer the full 5-year medical program, direct entry. So most universities will have a pathway or a graduate entry program where you have to do 3 years of the Bachelor of Biomedical Science and then transfer into a graduate entry medical degree. But so that's a total of 7 years because the graduate entry is 4 years. So 3 plus 4. But we have the 5-year program where you graduate with a Bachelor of Medical Science and a Doctor of Medicine within 5 years. So an MD qualification. However, to get into this qualification is not easy at all. First of all, your academics need to be top notch. So 3 A's is the minimum requirement, but I will guarantee you that it's not enough. You will need at least 3 A stars. The more you have, the better. In addition to that, you've got to do what's called the ISAT examination. So ISAT is a situational judgment test that looks at critical thinking and reasoning. So it's not something that can be taught or learned. It's something that is innately known by you as an individual. So there's no textbook or anything that you can learn from. But it tests a little bit of chemistry, biology, maths, physics, English, etc. Then in addition to that, you also need to pass what's called the MMI, multiple mini interviews. And these interviews will focus on not medical knowledge, but more to do with your empathy and your reasoning and your ethics and morals. So they want to make sure that you're generally a good human being and emotionally and mentally fit to become a doctor eventually. So subjects for medical degrees, you need chemistry. That is the mandatory requirement. That's it. There's no other program. Psychology counseling is a long pathway in Australia. So you got to do 3 years of a general psych degree, then you follow it up with 1 year of an honors degree, and then you've got to do another 2 years, if I'm not mistaken, of a master of counseling. And that's how you become a registered psychologist. But now, when it comes to medicine, coming back to that, a lot of students want to get into our medical program, understandably, but there are other opportunities, there are other programs that you can consider in the medicine, nursing, and health science faculty. Like what? For example, nutrition science. Nutrition science looks at, diet and ensuring that a person is fit. So nutrition is obviously much needed in our world today. People are getting lazier and lazier. And as a result, I think it's much needed that you have nutrition scientists on board at hospitals. Occupational therapy is an area that has not yet breached the market in Sri Lanka, not at a large scale. But occupational therapists work in the healthcare sector, but they look at how you can improve the physical environment of an ailing person, someone who is physically unable to enter a certain place. For example, they'll add in a ramp or add in a staircase, things like that. They will look at an area and then make minor improvements and changes for that individual. But it is classified under the healthcare sector, and as a result, is a very, very high paying job. One of the most highest paying jobs are radiography and medical imaging graduates. They are on the same pay scale as doctors. So that's something to consider. It's not as difficult to get into. There are no ISAT exams, there's no interviews, but you can still get the same pay for half the time as well, because you'll be done in 3 years maximum. Whereas the medical degree, you got to do 5, plus then you have to specialize another 2, 3 years. You're looking at a long, long wait. Okay.
Is
So
there a quota
yeah,
for like
yes,
medical
there is a
intake?
quota. There is a quota. I think it's 70 places, if I'm not mistaken. I'll have to double check.
Okay.
It's really tough. It's really
Yeah,
tough, and
because so many of my friends didn't get in, so that's why I wanted to know.
yeah, and the main reason why our students don't get in is actually the timeline, more so than anything else, because our program is only in February and our applications close June of the previous year. So they have to apply before they get A-level results. They apply with ISAT, and once you have your ISAT, they will tell you if you are eligible for an interview. And after all of that, only do you submit your A-level results. So that timeline is what really messes everybody up more so than anything else. But regardless of that, it is pretty tough to get into. Okay, so I'm going to be moving on, and I'm just going to take a few questions as I go. Prerequisites for IR? No, there's no prerequisites, so you can join in. Employment rate for cybersecurity master, that's a very specialized area, so I wouldn't be able to give you specifics of that, but all I can tell you is within the IT faculty, it's 90+%, so you should be okay. I answered the questions. Subjects, yeah, chemistry. A-level results for actuarial, if I'm not mistaken, it's 3 Bs. It could be ABB. As you can see, we have so many programs, so I don't have everything in my mind, but it's somewhere around 3 Bs or ABB. Okay. If you want to do the bachelor's and master's integrated option, there it's a higher requirement, so it might be something like AAB. Okay, it's somewhere along those lines, but definitely above 3 Bs. Okay, so this faculty, pharmaceutical science and pharmacy, is one of our highest ranked faculties. So it's number 2 in the world, very, very high. 97% of pharmacy graduates are employed full-time after completion. Okay, our pharmaceutical science faculty has its own campus. So we have a separate campus in an area called Parkville, and that is dedicated only to pharmaceutical science. So it's very, very research intensive. It's very, very heavy on, lab work. And I think it's a great alternative for people who are looking into things like biomedical science and research. Why not go into pharmaceutical science? Because you can really do a lot in terms of drug testing and, identifying new medication for the world. And at a university like Monash, where research is so, so intensive, going into something like pharmacy would be a dream. because, some of the research that Monash has provided over the years have been things like cures for lupus. The first IVF pregnancy was developed, and that idea was developed at Monash. So things like that, I mean, that's the level of research that you're looking at. So coming into that kind of research at pharmacy would be very, very good. Monash opportunities for internships. Yes, I will get to that. There is a slide specifically on internships and organizations. So I'll be touching on that in a minute. Okay, so you do have an option where you can do pharmacy again integrated with a master's, so bachelor's and master's option. And that'll be a 4-year duration. Yeah. Sorry, 5-year duration. Okay, so coming to the end, we're almost done. Law. So we've got the LLB, Bachelor of Laws, and you've got the LLM, which is the Master of Laws. So if you have done a Bachelor of Laws at a place like RI or APIT in Sri Lanka, we would accept you into our program. The reason is because we don't accept students who have done Australian qualifications at undergraduate level. So for example, just to take an example, if you've done a Deakin program, we can't take you into the LLM, the Master of Laws, but any other program is fine, even local university is fine. So you have clinical placement partners that you can look at. So law reform, Supreme Court, capital punishment projects, very, very interesting clinical placements. And you do get to work in legal clinics with supervision with already qualified lawyers and senior officials. We have Australia's finest moot court, which is basically a mock court where you can see that's one of our students that's dressed up as a lawyer. You get to dress up as a judge and wear the wig and everything, and you get to actually pass judgment on things in court, and you have to sit with the decision that you made, regardless of if it was right or wrong. So the clinical legal education that you get is unparalleled for sure. Okay, so if you're looking at Master of Laws, you do need something called BLAB assessment, which is the Victorian Legal Assessment Board. They have to ensure that the qualification that you have studied is equivalent and meets our requirements. So you have to get that assessment and only then submit your application. Okay. If you want to go into something that is a non-legal, from a non-legal background, so say, for example, you're a IR student and you still want to get into law later on, you can do what's called the Juris Doctor program, which is a master's program that's 3 years in duration. So you finish your IR or your criminology or whatever it is, and then you do a JD, which is the Juris Doctor, and you can work in the legal field afterwards. Okay. Okay, stopping the questions again. Medical lab science, I would need to check. I'll have to check. If one of the Lyceum counselors, if you don't mind, if you could just check and answer this question on the chat, that would be great. Entry requirements and prerequisites. Pharmaceutical and pharmaceutical science as well, if someone can check and tell me, because if not, I'll have to stop and check. But pharmaceutical, you do need A-level mathematics. So that's mandatory. And the entry requirement is a little high. So again, maybe 3 Bs or so, but if somebody could double check that. Okay, last faculty, Faculty of Science. This is a very, very vast faculty because we look at a lot of different areas of study. These are some of the internship partners. So Google, Boeing, Deloitte, Kellogg's, hospitals, zoos, depending on what you want to study. So under the Bachelor of Science, you have all of these areas. Okay, so kids who like to study astrophysics, for example, that's a possibility. You can do chemistry, you can do immunology. Psychology under the Bachelor of Science is also possible. Some interesting things are things like zoology, developmental biology, which looks at gene tech. There's also financial mathematics, which in case you don't want to go on a business route, you can do this through a Bachelor of Science. Okay, so these are some interesting options: microbiology, genomics, you name it. Okay, so there's some really good programs here that you can consider. Right, so moving on to the Global Immersion Guarantee. Okay, so this is called the GIG program. So this is basically a funded fieldwork unit that takes you to one of 8 countries at the end of your first year. So your flight, your accommodation, your visa, your program costs, everything is covered. You only need to cover your tuition fee and just food and any expenditure, spending money. So you pay the same tuition fee that you've been paying, but they take you on this tour. Okay. The reason why they do this is to give you a more global experience, and you get to also partner with local community leaders to look at solutions to some kind of global challenges that people may be having. So countries like Fiji, Indonesia, China, or Italy, you can see one of the 8 countries that are mentioned there. And this is really beneficial for students who are in the arts section and in the science section. So if you're going into things like earth sciences, for example, you can go to Fiji and see how, you know, their earth and atmospheric sciences differ from what you've been learning in Australia. And it really gives you a more global perspective on what you've already learned. Okay. Yeah, so here's a little bit more experience, pushing students out of their comfort zones. We love to do that. And you make the students look at real world, local contexts for them to get a proper understanding of what the real world is like. Okay. The other one that we have is that was GIG, right? So this one is MIG, Monash Innovation Guarantee. And this is a 3-week intensive interdisciplinary summer unit. Okay, so this is in collaboration with industry partners, and you will work in a small team to deliver purpose-driven solutions, essentially to real-world challenges that you have to give answers to these industry partners, right? So this could range from commercial enterprises to social, government, UN, startup, you name it. But you will be coached through the entire process by these industry leaders, and you will then learn how to apply that knowledge to interdisciplinary problems, whatever you may be given. So somebody asked about the UN. Here you go. So UN Environment Program is one option that you can work with. Amnesty, an exceptional place to work at. Tesla, EY for finance. This is just some, okay, some of many, but this kind of gives you an idea of what to expect. All right. So with that, I'm going to close for today, and I'm happy to take more questions. I don't see any answers to the questions on the chat, so I'm just going to quickly check for you. Give me a second. Please do send in other questions or feel free to unmute while I check this out. So pharmacy and pharmaceutical science are 2 different programs, okay? Just to be clear, one will qualify you to become a pharmacist and one will qualify you to work in the pharmaceutical industry. So it depends on what you want to do. And also depends on if you're a Cambridge or an edXL student. So pharmaceutical science, you're looking at 1B, 2Cs. And thank you, Pumi. And pharmacy, mechatronics would be BCC, if I'm not mistaken. Again, this is generic because Monash works on a point system. So if you are a local A-level student, it'll be 2 points higher than a Cambridge or an edXL student. So it could range anywhere from 1B, 2Cs to 2Bs, okay? Depending on what your academic background is. Pharmaceutical, I said was, yeah, 9.5, and pharmacy is 3 Bs. Okay. So pharmacy is the higher end qualification. Any other questions? Let me check on this medical lab science thing as well. I don't think we have that. No, yeah. So we have biomedical science, no medical lab science. Okay, so it depends on what you want to get out of a career with a medical lab science degree. If it's more research intensive, there are other programs that you can look at that would help you focus on research in the lab space. Okay. Program. Required to do IELTS? Yes, it is. Unfortunately, we do require IELTS if you have only finished A-levels. If you are a postgraduate student, sometimes we can exempt IELTS, but we don't recommend that because you do need it for your visa. So it would be better for you to just do it. You know, it's not that difficult, IELTS or PTE. Just finish the test, and our entry requirement is for that is quite low. It's usually just 6.5 overall and 6 in each band. Employment rate for business administration, I already mentioned, it's 89%. A levels, finished English language 1A. Can I still apply for February? Sorry, so are you finishing A levels? Can you, Rimsha, if you could just unmute and tell me when you're finishing?
Okay, so I finished A levels last year for
Sorry,
English.
I can't hear you properly.
Okay, hold on. Can you hear me right now?
Yeah, a little better.
Sorry, I'll move a little. Is it okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So I will finish. Or I have to give I gave AS level exams this year for history
May.
and psychology. For history and psychology.
This May, right?
And yes. And in
Okay.
October, I have to give the rest of the exams for history and psychology, and that will
A2.
you think, yeah.
Yeah. So you should be able to join the Feb intake. You've got to do what's called a conditional acceptance. So you submit your application with your AS and your predicted grades. And once you get your results in January, you have to submit the results, but you can apply for your visa and everything with your predicted as long as you get the minimum grades.
I
So if
already
you're
have one A. I already
yeah,
have one A in
yeah, so
English
you've
language.
essentially met most of it already because it
Yes,
would be for IR, I'm guessing it'll be no more than
yes.
3 Cs.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
so
I will get my AS results this August.
yeah.
So
So
I can
once you get
apply with
AS,
those.
you can start your application for Feb.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm getting my results on 11th of August. So when do you recommend starting the application process?
Right after that.
Right after that. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Specific subjects. No, we don't look at O levels at all. Usually, as long as you have maths and English at O levels, that is all we'll look for, nothing further. I think someone has put the link NISIT for arts, so you can have a look at all of that. So you can see there's a lot of programs. PTE is also possible instead of IELTS if you want to go for that route. So we accept both IELTS and PTE. Okay. Anything else?
Looks like that's a wrap, isn't it, Mineli?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Mineli, for that incredibly insightful session. We truly appreciate you sharing such valuable details regarding Monash University entry requirements, popular degree pathways, and the unique campus experience awaiting Sri Lankan students in Australia. It was highly informative. To our audience, thank you for your active participation tonight. If you want to take the next step toward your future at Monash, or if you need personalized guidance regarding your application, visa processing, and scholarships, please reach out to us. You can call or message our hotline directly at 0777 655 7821. Thank you all for joining us tonight. Have a wonderful evening and good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.